forget about everything. I have to apologize because I need to do an Italian joke, and I'm really sorry for the non-Italians, but you have to guess where I come from. I will say one sentence is in Italian, and you have to guess where I come from. Coca-Cola harda o la cannuccia horta horta? Okay, I'm sorry? Napoli, okay, fine, close. So, okay. So, okay, bravo. So I apologize with the non-Italian. I am absolutely available to explain this after, because I've explained the joke now, it will be disaster. These are, some of the companies that I work for and with. And yes, guys, Backstage today is everywhere. And today is, for me and for you, a pretty challenging talk. You know why? For me, it's a challenging talk, first of all, because I move a lot and I challenge the technical people. It is a challenging talk because I will try, together with you, to be visionary about the developer experience, something that, I feel proud, but it's also challenging because imagining the future is not easy. And it is challenging for you because together with you I want to throw some of the challenges that we have today as developers, and I would like to hear your thought about what we are having as challenges right now, but also what we envision to be the challenges in the near future. Of course, I will talk about AI. This is only to say that I use this, but just to claim, because everyone will tell me, as usual, okay, but you use the AI to create the image. Yes, I use AI to create it, so I declare, and so this is not a problem anymore. So let's start from the beginning. So this is something that I want to hear from you. Oh, how many developers we have here in the room? People hacking code? The majority. Product managers? We are alone, Lou. Lou, we are me and you. Okay, so I'm the fluffy guy. Lou is a great, also technical person. He was showing before. And I will try to be more, I will do just a little bit back. I will do a step back from all the amazing talk that we heard today, because I want to connect some dots. This is something that often a product manager does, and connect some dots and imagining a little bit about viewing the developer experience with a step back and trying again to imagine the future. If you are thinking, okay, is it what Docker is going to do? No, maybe. And I will not tell you what is in the vision and what is not in the vision of Docker, because this is something that is, again, something that is related also to my heart, but also something that is in the air in many places. Today is a confirm. Okay, let's go. Something that I want to start is this. We touched this in many places, in many of the talk today. Developing in today's world has never been so powerful. Guys, I don't know if you feel like this, because I see young faces, but also less young faces. And we have really a superpower, because we can develop easily a lot of things in all the devices, local, mobile, and things like that. So we are really like people with superpower. As a developer, we have never been so empowered to do stuff and release code. It is incredibly powerful and incredibly easy to move things locally to the cloud and vice versa through containerization, for example, but also pipelines, deployment in the cloud, mobile, not mobile, web application, and things like that. It's extremely powerful. But this is more what the real lives look like. How many of you during your daily job, like Talita and Vincenzo were showing, you have more than 10 tabs open in your browser? Okay, the majority. So, I mean, this is the reality. I mean, how many tools you have to use and be expert in? GitHub, Pipeline, AWS, GCP, Azure. Now there is the Copilot and all the AI stuff. Then you have the language, because I mean, you have to code in some language, so you need to be expert in backend, front end, and then CSS, all the stuff that you need to manage to do what? One change to a UI or to a service, an API. It's incredible complex, and it's incredible fragmented. Before, Tahil was showing exactly the same picture. Do you know what is this? This is the CNCF landscape. It means that this, this is the open source landscape of CNCF. So it's the collection of technologies and tools that are around for developers. So it means that, in theory, you as developer, to be the best developer in the world, you should be an expert in all of this. Do you think it's feasible? Almost. So let's imagine the next job description. I'm looking for a junior developer with 20 years of experience, the PhD done, blah, 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 an expert in all of this. Okay? So, how many things you have to do to start from scratch a new project? You have to put in place a pipeline, create the Git. Where is Abi? Do we want to start from the documentation? Let's start from the documentation. Let's put in place an IDP, okay? And we have never, I mean, we didn't start with any line of code, huh? And the IDP can help in automating all of this, okay? We already discussed about junior and middle senior developer, and each time you learn something and you learn from a new piece of technology, you feel proud, but you see behind the heel another thing to learn, another piece to add. I don't know you guys, but when I was developing, and I'm crying like Chirpo is saying, each time I was learning a new technology, I was moving to Angular when I was working in Spotify from, React when I was working in Spotify, from Angular when I was working in Alfresco. Each time I was learning a new technology, I was looking at the next technology as the next challenge. It's never ending, this, okay? But it's not the only problem. I don't know you guys, but tell me what is your, I mean, this is related also to the microservice world that is becoming more and more applied. I mean, how many software entities, the Backstage folks were showing the software catalog, how many entities we have into our repositories. I asked to ChatGPT a sort of estimation. Small organization are hundreds, in the line of hundreds, okay? In average, of course. Medium organization, thousands. Large organization, hundreds of thousands. Okay? I don't want to say the numbers of Spotify or Docker or anyone else, but we are exactly in this range here. The bigger, and this is not a problem to say, the bigger Backstage customer has 260,000 software entities in their catalog. It's pretty big, but it's an example. And if you want to develop, I'm not saying hundreds of thousands of entities, but if you want to develop your complex application into your laptop, Lou was doing a great example, the inner loop and the outer loop. Imagine that you have this big, giant microservice application that you want to develop into your laptop with a Docker Compose app. How much RAM or resources do you need to do this? Okay? And look at the price of a new MacBook Pro. This is the higher price that you can pay. So to start developing now, you don't need a laptop. You need the NASA under your, power, okay? Because otherwise, how many of you have problem in terms of resources, CPU, RAM during the development, because the application is too big? I'm I'm not talking about application that you develop. I'm talking in theory. Would you be, let's do it in this way. Would you be able to run the entire application that you're working with, working on into your laptop? How many can run the full application into your laptop? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10-ish. Okay? So applications are big and will become bigger and bigger. So it is not only about having to know and be expert in too many technologies, it's also about being challenged by the limited resources that we have in comparison of the amazing things that we are doing as a developer and the big chunk of the big applications that we are doing. Okay? So Trivago, 100, no, how many developers? 300 multiplied per 5,000 of dollars. It's a pretty big thing. How many developers in Spotify? 4,000? 6,000? No, okay. It's a pretty big number, okay? It is a challenge. Okay, so what is the solution? What do we do? What do you do to manage this complexity? Something that is absolutely a common thing that every developer does, every team does, correct me if I'm wrong, we start to take our repository and slice the repository in the way that you can reduce the dimension of what you use for development and what you develop locally so that it can run in your laptop, in your machine. You can do Docker Compose app and it runs, okay? What is the problem here about the developer experience? That you start to introduce, Lou was doing a great, super great example, you start to introduce a huge, massive set of dependencies. Because your small, tiny repository that is running locally now have a dependency on the database that is in a staging environment. So who is going to manage the link between the local laptop and the database or the backend service, or the backend services that are running elsewhere, especially if you change this through a pipeline because someone is deploying somewhere else and your development doesn't work anymore? Who is going to manage all the several laptops with all this kind of dependency? This is, I mean, there are a lot of user research, also as part of the work that I'm doing at Docker, who was describing this as a pretty relevant problem to maintain and to control. I mean, a lot of developers are struggling to maintain the dependency and the maintaining the links to this fragmented environment is going to happen. Another thing that I also heard quoted, no production-like environment. So if you have a tiny piece and you rely, for example, on a container running a database with few sample data, what I heard many, many times is that you deploy this in production, the production is different in terms of behavior, simply because you tested this in a local environment with few data, and when you go to deploy, bang, bug. You cannot do your work. No, I don't have a production-like environment, so I cannot test it. Who was Vincenzo? Someone else was talking about pipelines too slow. Oh yes, the amazing picture of the forecasting. I love that. I love that plugin. Pipelines are powerful, but this is a bottleneck for all of us. Sorry, all of you, the developers. Are bottlenecks. I remember. I think it was you saying, usually I run the pipeline, I go to take a coffee, then I'm back. So you need to reconcentrate, restart. The pipelines are bottlenecks. And you cannot really do debug and integration testing in your local environment. You develop locally, finger crossed, run the pipeline, and if the pipeline is red, what the hell, guys, I need to reproduce this in my development environment. How much hours do you lose in doing this? Okay? Are you frustrated about this slide? Okay, so what is the result of this developer experience, these challenges that we have? Lower quality. You cannot do your job. Okay, I cannot reproduce things like in production-like environment. I mean, I have to manage all the dependency to crap staging environments with few data. I have to rely only on pipeline for integration testing. What's the solution? I mean, how can I be better than this? We are slower. I mean, having to wait pipelines for hours or for several minutes is slowing down also the productivity. And it is frustration in general. This number is a real number. There is also the source of this. The burnout, I mean, we can debate a lot how much of this burnout is connected to this frustration, but the burnout is really a thing. How many of you guys has experienced burnout at least one time in your career? Okay, we are not far from that percentage here, huh? Okay, we're not far from this. Okay, so what is the problem? What is the bigger problem that we have in our current developer experience? The bigger problem that we are facing is linked in my and in our interpretation in complexity, fragmentation. Guys, we are extremely powerful more than ever, but it's the hardest period of time to be a developer. It is the hardest. I see lots of people nudging. This is the problem that we have. And because I'm a fluffy product manager and I talk blah, 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 what is a problem becomes an opportunity. And this is exactly the exercise that I would like to do with you to imagine and think about what will and should be not the ideal developer experience, because then we connect to the magic monde of Oz that Tahil was showing us. Amazing talk, by the way. But I would like to be practical and show what I believe, at least, it will be most likely the developer experience in some time. I will touch the topic of the sometime, because I don't think it will be in 10 years, and I don't think it will be in 5 years. I think it will be shorter than this, very short. So, this is the pain. So, complexity, fragmentation. What exists in the market? Well, guys, you are in the right conference, because today we have seen amazing products that are exactly wanted to address this. I love the Lou story about the inner loop, the outer loop. We need to reduce the distance between the two, because this is exactly how we reduce the complexity, okay? Totally. What exists in the market right now? Well, there are specialized tools. Great talks today. We have seen Copilot, we have seen Gitpod, we have seen a lot of solutions that are existing outside. And this will grow and will grow again. So we'll continue to grow a lot. Internal developer portal, I mean, I loved Vincenzo's answer to my question, how do you envision, I mean, we didn't agree this, let's be clear. So Vincenzo mentioned something, say, I mean, when I was saying, how do you envision to be the future of Backstage, for example? I say, well, something that makes easier the life of the developers. Boom. Yes, this is spot on. This is exactly the problem that we want to address. And the proof of this is that IDPs are really changing also the experience of the developers. They are really changing the world of the development, making it simpler. AI assistant. We had some example today, but there are, I mean, each day, I don't know you guys in LinkedIn and all the connection, but each day are coming out new AI assistant that are claiming to be the most advanced and powerful thing. For the moment, I don't know you, but I feel like for the moment, some are better, some are worse, some useful, some useless. But they are assistant. It's like asking to someone very, a sort of what I call monkey developer that luckily doesn't exist in reality, to say, hey, can you please write this sentence for me? Can you please do this for me? They are, for the moment, a pretty stupid assistant, but it's only the beginning. It will grow. And there are also cloud environments. So how many of you tried the development directly into the cloud, into the browser? Tried, I'm not saying using in production. 1, 2, 3, 4, 10-ish. How many of you are using this for production purpose or using these okay. So someone is saying, absolutely not. This is exactly what I see in the market. There are some options. Just to give you a number, do you know that 76% of developers in a user research that has been done recently declare to be interested in the cloud environment, and this is a relevant increase compared with the previous years, but it's not something that they would like to replace for their daily job, because let's be clear, a developer wants to leverage the local environment. Okay, they don't want to work into a browser. This is not something that developers like. Okay. Let's talk instead, not what exists in the market, but let's talk a little bit about what developers want, because we want to serve ourselves. We want to do the best for us. So Vincenzo was exactly saying that. I would expect to find solutions to treat developers and abstracting the complexity, because let's be clear, we like to be treated as an extension of the code. We want to be an extension of the code, but at the same time, it's becoming so hard that we need to make things a little bit simpler and abstract the complexity, otherwise we don't survive. So in other business sectors, something that I know you hate, and I hate as well, this is called no code, no code. Every developer dislike this and is frustrated with this sentence. But the essence is similar. We want to abstract the complexity. We want to make things simpler, but we want to do this without losing the control. So we want to be able to make this simpler, but when we want to go under the carpet and look what is inside and don't lose the control. This is an important essence. This is why, for example, I think that Backstage is great, because you can decide to stay up in the complexity if you don't want to go deeper into the details. But if you want to go down and use the specific products and solutions, you can go there and you can go in deep. And this is exactly what we want. So developers want to abstract the complexity without losing the control. Okay? So at any time we want to go down into details, but maybe in some area go faster elsewhere. Let's match these two topics to move another step further. We want to be treated as humans, and we want to abstract the complexity without losing the control. Let's say that I think we can squeeze these two sentences in one, saying that we want to treat developers like humans without losing the control. Do we want to do some example of this? For example, developers, it's clear also in the user research, would like to leverage their local environment. Again, Lou was showing this in practice. The terminal, locally, with your tools, and the local source code, and the local Visual Studio, or whatever it is, but offloading some of the development elsewhere, because the laptop is not enough. This is where, for example, there is the story of merging the outer loop and the inner loop. This is a good example of what developer wants. I don't want to be constrained by my local laptop, my RAM, my CPU. Instead, I want to leverage the cloud resources, but continue to work locally. Another example, I cannot avoid to quote Backstage because it has been quoted in every slide. So I mean, in every deck. I want to delegate something to an IDP because I don't want to take care about the deployment in GCP, in Azure, in Amazon, or whatever it is. But if I want to go deeper, because I want to become expert in Terraform, or in whatever it is, I can go behind an IDP and become expert in this. So in Spotify, there is a common and frequent conversation about the T shaping, something that you are expert like a T, horizontally to many things, so you can decide to go deeper in detail in some area and expertise in the way that you want. This is exactly what developer can do. And this is already possible, even if we want to take this to the next level. Developers want to amplify their ability and delegate the monkey tasks, what is now the assistance, to something else, to someone else, and make faster, avoiding to repeat yourself and things like that. This is also something that today is partially possible, but I don't think that the ecosystem is mature enough. How many of you are using AI for their current development for production purpose for your real work? Half, a little bit less, okay? So this is, I mean, I wanted to do a sort of live exercise, but it's fine, also a static image. This is what I mean, in Docker we have ChatGPT Enterprise, and I often play with it. This is something that you can do also, I mean, with many tools. You can ask, like you have seen in more than one example today, you can ask on the left there to create a React application developing a page with a form with 3 fields, name, surname, age, add the submit button with label submit. Boom, bam. And you have the step-by-step tutorial. Imagine that this, like we have seen with Copilot, but not only with Copilot, can be given to something a little bit more advanced, and then something will do this for you especially on the repetitive and more boring tasks. This is partially possible today because it's not well integrated. Imagine to take this to the next level and have not only one or few terminal in the way that we have seen in previous talks, but imagine that you have available for you a team of developers, AI developers, who are doing the most automatic and simple tasks for you because you don't want to invest time in deployment, in creating the documentation, for example. How many of you tried to ask to an AI assistant to create the documentation from your source code? Okay? Imagine to not having one AI assistant, but imagine to have a team of automatic AI developers that are able to serve you in the repetitive work, in the specialized work. This is what I think is going to change massively in the near future. Because today AI is an assistant on something and is partially working. What I start to see is a clear trend where you don't have an assistant, but you have a real team of DevOps, documentation, Q&A, that is helping you in your daily job of developing things. We should expect this to have well integrated into the IDEs, but also in our pipelines, okay? In practice, we should have this replacing a lot of the hard work that we are already doing. Very, very, very practically. So, landing to, I mean, the visionary part and how at least I imagine to be a session of development in the near future that all of us guys will have to deal with and we'll have to work in a few months and year, let's do a practical session and let's do this. Let me introduce John. John is a middle senior developer. He's working for the super cool company who is sending rockets. Well, March is not anymore sexy. I mean, it was sexy a few years ago. Now let's go to Jupiter. I don't know. I was thinking to use electric cars. This is more fancy now, but yeah, let's go. Let's remain on the rocket things. And so, as part of his daily work, he's doing a developer session. Okay, and for example, John is working as a developer very similarly to what you are doing today with your IDE, and this is not really changing because it doesn't change your way of working, but maybe some difference is that instead of interacting, digiting and writing code and asking, questioning, continue, you can interact also in a more human-friendly way, asking and replying to questions that you receive from the IDE, maybe creating a new front-end application because he needs to start creating a web app. The request is pretty clear. How we were showing with the IDPs and Backstage, let's create following the best practices in terms of security. I'm not expert in security, but please do it for me according with the best practices of my company, because in my company I need to have the most secure and most up-to-date ways to create applications. And please create this in a way that you can also enable a development environment for me so that I don't have to deal with something that is affecting my machine, but instead it is deployed in 2, 3, maybe 4 different development environments, not limited in any way from local resources, because these are living somewhere. I don't care what it is. Please do this for me. After you have done, and I'm sure it won't take you to take another coffee, but it will be seconds. Guys, you have seen this also with Backstage, so it's already possible. What is missing is the human interface, because it's possible this already. So it's not complex to become a thing. And can you please explain me what you have done? Because I am a developer, I want to control, and I want to know what happened, and I want to be able to change it, and I want to be able to evolve this, because this is only the hello world. So that once you explain to me how the source code works, I would like to change something, because this is exactly the use case that I need to develop, because I know the use case. Okay, it's not enough. I want 3 development environment, I was saying before, and I don't want to be constrained by the limited resources. It means that I want the full production-ready, production-like environment, full of data, full of services, only mine, not share with someone else. If the pipeline comes and updates something, everything is destroyed, it doesn't work anymore. I want this for me, and I want 3, because I want to do 3 different versions of the use case that I want to cover, so that I can share 1 or few of them with my peers for P-programming, or with my business users, because they have to check and they give me the thumbs up that this is exactly what they want. Maybe I want to share them both the environments, they are not in the staging environment, they are in the development environment, and to say, hey, business user, do you want the version A or the version B? So you can check everything without, already there, available, and that's it. Help me populating the data. How much time do you invest in populating production-like data to test your environment? And most importantly, how exciting it is. I think it's one of the most boring things in the world. But anyway, you can debug, and most importantly, you can ask to debug to your system. Please put in place the integration testing that now are not necessarily happening into the staging environment through the pipeline, but can happen in the unlimited resources that you have available for you, because you are not anymore constrained by the local laptop. And maybe I share this environment with the team, with the business users, with the peer programming. You call a senior developer to say, hey, sorry, I'm not able to debug this, and the AI assistant is not helping me. Can you please jump into my development environment so that we can pair programming remotely? Because I am in Florence and you are in Pisa. There. This is another Italian joke. I will explain after. There is a fight between Florence and Pisa. Or you can send this to the business user and say, can you please check this is exactly what you want? I didn't run any pipeline. So Lou was explaining this, squeezing inner loop and outer loop. That's it. Okay? Okay, we already discussed about this. If I share with you these 3 versions of the things that I'm doing, can you please tell me what do you prefer? What do you think it fits best from a business perspective? To do this today, you have to die. Exactly. Okay, perfect hook for Abby and interesting talk about the documentation. How many of you like to write documentation as developer? I think that you are more than the average, guys. I mean, documentation is always a challenge. I mean, Abby did an interesting talk on this. We need also to leverage the help, and we will leverage the help also from a technical writer AI of our team of AI, not our AI assistant. And we don't want also to invest too much time in creating the PR, merging, rebasing, and things like that. We will ask to our monkey AI staff and run the integration testing, but the integration testing now can run into the development environment. It will be easier, faster. I get results before, and if they fail, I can already debug into the development environment. I don't have to reproduce this because it is in a pipeline, in an ephemeral environment, I don't know where. Done. Okay? Do you like it? Okay. Can it be real? How far we are from this? Well, in theory, we are not too much. In practice, more than this. And I confess that this is at least how I envision to be a developer experience, our next iteration of the developer experience, you included, guys. And closing the contribution, I would like to discuss a little bit how far we are. And yesterday, while I was going around to the web, because the message that I was trying to do is, hey guys, be prepared because it's not too far. Okay, look at the date. Have you seen this post? So this is yesterday. And this guy here, the CEO of Cognition AI, was introducing Devin. Devin is the first AI software engineer. So he's not anymore an assistant. Okay, it's slightly different. And you can hire a team of devins, okay, to develop with you and instruct the devins to do work in your behalf. Okay? So this future is not so far. Let's meet here next year and see where we are from this. And let's see how many of you, how many Devins or Francescos or whatever you want, you will leverage in your daily work. Because I bet that the AI assistant is only the first step. What I think it is going to happen in practice is that one developer will leverage a team of devins to abstract the complexity of your daily work and make things more human and more human-friendly. I don't know if you heard about this guy. Okay, there is a lot of bias here. This is the CEO of NVIDIA. Recently, this February, 1 month ago, if you haven't seen this speech, it's pretty easy and viral. He was saying that, well, he envisioned a world where now everyone can be a programmer, blah, blah, blah. I don't think so. Anyway, there is a lot of bias here because, of course, he's making a lot of money because of this. You can see. I don't know if you saw the stock and the value of the company after all the AI stuff, but he's doing great. But for sure, soon will be a different world, also for us. And we don't have to do all the manual job by ourselves. Soon it will be less complex. And if you find it scary, because someone finds it scary, this is not my opinion, if you find it scary, I would like to close the contribution and probably the pitch so you are safe and you can refresh. But after the conversation, I would like to quote and imagine a better future where the problem is not about not programming, because I don't think it will exist, at least in the next years. I think more that is valid what Herbert Hubbard is a writer. I mean, AI didn't exist at the time when he mentioned this. No machine can do the work for extraordinary man. So the things that we simply need to do as developer is to be extraordinary. And this is our challenge. And this is the challenge that I want to give you at the end of this talk and the end of this day. Your challenge, like my challenge, guys, is not to become necessarily better programming, but be extraordinary humans and programmer so you can do better your work and deliver more value to your end users. Thank you.
Thank you, Francesco. Do you have any questions for Francesco? I don't trust Devin. I will trust Devin, you know when? When they will show me they can center a div with CSS. In that case, I say, okay. You have a question for him? But you have 30 seconds to answer.
Okay.
I will do quickly. So I'm one of the scared guys. And so my question is, okay, we will have a lot of Devins and a lot of somebody else, I don't know, AI tools. Will we have more software or will we have less software developers?
I want to reply with the closing sentence that I used last week on the open source day. Okay, there is an amazing. I love that sentence. I don't remember. Andresen is one of the bigger investor in the West Coast of America in open source. They're the inventor of Netscape. The younger of you, who knows Netscape? Okay. You're old guys, I tell you. And they are one of the bigger investors in open source, business open source company. So the sentence says that, I mean, in 2011 he mentioned, software is eating the world, okay? In 2019, he evolved the sentence to become, software is eating while software is eating the world, open source is eating the software, to say that open source is everywhere. What I was imagining, and this is valid also for your question, and this is my answer, I believe that, Chirpo is not agreeing with me, but I believe that the software is eating the world and AI is going to eat the software. But open source is going to I mean, and all the most adopted AI solution will be open source. This is to say that I think that everything will be more easy, automatic, faster. I don't think that we are going to replace the developers. I strongly believe that with our challenge, being extraordinary person, will be to better serve the humanity and the user having different challenges. So I believe that you and me, we will deal less with pipelines and scripting, but we are going to deal more with use cases, problem, innovation, better thing to do. I don't think that we are out of job. I think that the people that needs to be scared about being out of job is the people who wants only to write script without taking care about something to do with the scripts. Do you know what I mean?
Francesco, this is more of a, sorry, more of a thought-provoking question, okay? But basically, the whole construct of your talk was about relieving from the incredible complexity software is bringing to the table today. Don't you think that having to do with human-like, an army of human-like agents is more of a complexity than dealing with software?
I usually say to my friends, engineering managers, that for me, I mean, I developed for 25 years before moving to developer relation and product management then. I think that the most complex part for me to doing software is about human relations. I totally agree. I mean, software is the most easier thing to do, and instead making a team working in a real world, also from inside, of course, is 1,000 times more complex. So to your point, it can be the case that it becomes too complex, but I still think that these beasts here will still remain tools. Very smart, very human friendly, but still tools. I think that, I imagine that the challenge will continue to be the human relations. Maybe, I see them complex, smart, human-like, but tools. Let's meet in, guys, I think that 2 years, I would like to hear from you 2-3 years and be here and say how the inner loop and the outer loop is for us, for you and for me, and say this. Is it 30 seconds, Cirpo?
No, man, it's not, but it's okay.
Thank you, Fra. Amazing talk. Maybe today born a new job title, AI DevEx engineer.
For sure, but can you imagine, I mean, how many titles, AI manager, bot, advanced principal, you know, I mean, you know that there is another role beyond principal, you know?
Senior principal, distinguished principal.
Distinguish.
Yeah, I have a friend.
Have you heard more bullshit than this? I'm a principal, by the way. Yeah?
You're just envy because you're not distinguished now. That's the reason. You get there, you get there. Okay, one last question.
30 seconds.
Okay, I will try to make it a quick one. By the way, great talk. Thank you, very entertaining. And my question is, so far we discussed about becoming an extraordinary human. So from a developer to become an extraordinary developer, extraordinary human. But my wonder is, how about people trying to become a developer? So with the changing this landscape, will the path to become a developer change or not? And if so, how?
I think so.
In your opinion, of course.
Sure, of course, everything here. I mean, I was saying that it's a challenge because when you try to be visionary, I mean, everything can go wrong. It will, who I am. So to become so I think that we are already seeing. I can quote the example of the data engineer. Data engineer is not a real, pure software developer, but it is developing. And they want to be different. So this is not a pure development to hacking the code in sense of creating services necessarily, because they can do also this. So it's a slightly different version of the developer. I think that it can happen. So there is in the business, sorry guys, I need to quote the business. In the business, there is also the one persona, one definition that is the citizen developer. How many of you heard about citizen developer? So the citizen developer is considered a developer who is not a techie, is not a nerd focused on code necessarily. It's a I don't know how to define better. It's a sort of lightweight version of a developer with limited skill, not because junior, but because it is not a real developer. It's used a lot, for example, when you create, for example, something that it sounds like an algorithm and a code with visual tooling, for example, a workflow, and then you click a button, you deploy the workflow and things like that. I think that through AI it will become more frequent, more powerful, a little bit more.
No code.
Sorry?
No code development, basically.
Yeah, it is the citizen developer is what it was targeted for the low code, no code that all developers hate. But again, yes, it will become, to your point, it will become a little bit bigger, powerful. But you know, do you think you are doing, guys, simple things? We are not. We are solving problems, and problems will become even bigger if you are more powerful. It's the same metaphor of if you ride the horse, you can go from here to Pisa to hit the people from Pisa. Casual, I mean, not because.
Please say hi to all the people online from Pisa.
Hi from Pisa. I study in Pisa. I study in Pisa. But I mean, if you have a car, you can go to Berlin. 30 seconds, I know. Does it answer your question? Kind.
My original question was, will it become more difficult? Okay. My question was, will it become more difficult for non-developer to become developer, or will it become easier with the advent of
No,
AI
I think it will be. I mean, take the example of the IDP. You can, with an IDP, you can abstract a lot of the complexity and focus on a piece of technology that you want to learn and start from. So from this point of view, it will become easier. Or if you are in a team and you have a junior person, you can say, use these tools or be helped by Devin in doing something that me as a senior, I don't want to. But you as a junior, you work with Devin and Devin will do the work for you. And then it will be up to you to go deeper into some details because you want to. Again, you want to be helped and abstract the complexity without losing the control. This is the key point for me.
A round of applause for Francesco.